Today is Juneteenth, the day that celebrates the formal end of chattel slavery, but I want to talk about some other things about Juneteenth that you might not know. The day is June 19th because that's the day that 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that 250,000 enslaved people that were there were now formally freed. The first thing is that most people associate the end of slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation that was issued by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, but that was a proclamation/executive order, which means it completely relies on the enforcement of it. It was not a law passed by Congress. Lincoln actually used the War Powers Act to legally change the status of those 3.5 million enslaved people to freedmen. The proclamation depended on Union soldiers to enforce it, so as a consequence, millions of people were not freed immediately. Slavery continued in Delaware, Kentucky, and other areas until the 13th Amendment was ratified in December of that year, which was the legal end of slavery. And also, slavery ending did not mean the lifestyle changed for most of these enslaved people. After slavery ended, the process of sharecropping began, which was basically where the slave owners allowed the slaves to maintain living on the plantations, but in order to stay there, they had to keep working in the fields. It was essentially no different from slavery. Sharecropping wasn't completely ended until the 1950s. Also, I think a lot of people know this by now, but Abraham Lincoln was not like this champion of ending slavery. His primary goal was preserving the Union, and he thought that ending slavery would have been too divisive and it would have further split the North from the South. But then, as the war went on and it was like the bloodiest and most devastating war in American history, he realized that it would have been super beneficial to have all these new freedmen, all these new freed slaves on his side, on the North side. So he was like, you know what? Actually, I think we could find a loophole to end slavery so that we can get all these new black troops on the Union side. Here's the most important part though. After slavery officially ended, new practices and policies took hold to maintain white supremacy and keep black Americans subordinate. Black codes were discriminatory laws in southern states that criminalized black people for existing. There were literally laws that made it illegal for black people to walk by themselves at night on the street. And then these folks obviously were incarcerated and forced to do prison labor. Black people were continued to deny the right to vote even after that was passed with the 15th Amendment, and deeply racist laws like redlining and predatory bank loans still persist to this day. Racial equality has been a long fight and we are nowhere near there, but it is important to honor Juneteenth as the day that slavery officially ended.